Alright. I think everything's working and not blowing up. Let's see what we get. Okay. But for whatever reason, Twitch is not working again. It says unstable, and then it just like immediately stops. So I don't know what's up with that, and given everything that went on, I didn't get to do my little test stream, so I think we're gonna have to be YouTube only again tonight, or well, on Facebook too, but not too many people show up for that one. Well, that's a shame, but I don't have any more time to fiddle around with it. Okay, let me get it to stop hammering Twitch here. I'll just turn it off. Okay, so YouTube and Facebook night. Unfortunately. So let me send out the posts and we'll be ready. Be great if I spelled everything correctly. Is Game Jolt just not working? What's going on? I don't see it. What happened? Okay. Okay, I can close all that. Okay, it says I'm connected up. I think we're okay now. Okay, I think we're ready. It's been a little bit, yeah? So, hello, I'm Mark DeWiz. I'm back. Took a little time off there, had some personal stuff, some health stuff. Bad stuff, always bad stuff, but now it's good stuff. We're back to good stuff. Good stuff's good. So, kind of just picking up where we left off last. I did work a little bit on making enemy parts go boom and fly all over the place, but I don't have any sprites for the actual enemies, only for the trash blocks. And even those are just kind of placeholder for now. So what we have to do is we're going to have to make some new sprites and kind of go over what kind of I want to do with that and how I want to handle it. And we'll go over that in a minute. First, just quick health update. Spine-wise, I'm doing pretty good. Reintegrating more stuff, trying to do more stuff. And so it's sort of a balancing act in a way where it's I do more stuff and it hurts more, so then I need to kind of like find where the balance is and gradually kind of grow back very slowly day by day into doing more and more stuff. And I mean, it's working. It's just going to take forever to complete that process, unfortunately. So it's just kind of a day by day thing, and so I'm just kind of doing what I can do and kind of going from there. But everything seems to be progressing in a positive direction, so I'm happy about that. The other, I guess, that's the good health news. The bad health news, which I mentioned before, part of the reason I was taking the break. So I'm very prone to diabetes, and so I had the diabetes, and then I beat it back, and it went away. But it's very expensive to do that, to change your diet and to do all that stuff. And so I kind of had to lay off of that, and I tried to like do what I could within the parameters that I've been restricted with financially, and that was not good. That was not enough. That was pretty bad. So I'm in very big danger of all that again, and so whether I can afford it or not, we'll just have to try to do what we can do as far as like, you know, eating stuff that's diabetic friendly and stuff that can help reduce that or make it go away or whatever, and just kind of gonna go with it. Don't know where it's gonna go, but it is what it is. You know, things are prices here in the United States are kind of shooting through the roof, you know, thanks to Big Orange up there. So we're trying our best to see what happens. And so far it's okay, but it's going to get significantly harder to keep doing that. But I'm at the point where the doctor's kind of like, yeah, you need to do this, or you're not going to be around very long to worry about it. And I'm like, okay, well that's a very clear message. I understand, and we'll just do what we can do and see what happens. So that was the big bad news that I had a few weeks ago. So just keeping you all in the loop, and you know, it is what it is. So we march on forward and see where life takes us, right? So let's see. All right, those two things are done. We're done with those health updates. Now project stuff. Oh yeah, I'm on Windows again, by the way. If you oh no, you don't see the screen yet. Well, I'm gonna show you the screen so you can see it. Yeah, back on Windows. So Linux had been working out pretty good, and I was very happy with how Linux had been working. But then, like, how do I want to put it? Linux can be temperamental sometimes, and I don't know what's wrong at this point. But the very technical details is that hot reloading no longer works for plugins when you're using Unreal Engine. So that probably means nothing to most of you, but it is a very, very, very inconvenient thing. So when I go in here and I'm typing out code, and I'm and I hit this compile button up here, and then we see the changes that happen in the game from the code that I changed. Yeah, that doesn't work anymore. And I don't know if it's something that I did, or it's something that a writer's update broke, or Unreal Engine update broke. I don't know what it is. I have not been able to figure it out. It's been driving me nuts. And so it's kind of not impossible to do work that way, but it slows down the process so much that it's almost not worth bothering with if you have to work under those conditions. So for now, we've crawled back, bruises and broken bones. We've crawled back to Windows once again. I'm hoping that it gets resolved at some point. I'm just going to kind of keep updating the programs and see what happens. AJ actually proposed something. It was either yesterday or the day before. I haven't been able to try it yet, but he's like, well, at this point, why don't you try just loading the Windows version of Unreal Engine and Rider and using, if it even works at all on Linux, because you can run some Windows programs on Linux through a compatibility layer. It kind of like sort of emulates the Windows environment, and it makes most programs happy enough to work. And if that does work, great. I would love it to just go. Sometimes that can be at a performance cost. Sometimes, you know, things just get glitchy and don't work. So it's kind of like a last ditch effort. You know, it wouldn't be the first thing I would try to solve it with. But if it works, it works. In Windows, everything works fine. Hot Reload works, so it's, you know, that's okay. Although it's a little different, not to dive into too much technical detail, but the Hot Reload is different on Windows. It's a different process called live coding and whatever. So, but it used to work on Linux. Live coding does not work on Linux. That doesn't even support it right now. So it's got to use the old Hot Reload. So it's complicated. And I honestly don't, at this point, I don't even know what to make of it. So we crawled back to Windows. We're licking our wounds, and we're going to have to put up with the terrible performance and terrible FPS that we've got going on. So, unfortunately, which you'll probably notice right away how choppy and awful the frame rate is here. So the stream should be running at 60 FPS, give or take on what you're watching this on. But you definitely can tell it's not. It's not running very well. Now it says it's running at 87, 70 FPS, whatever, and that's probably true. But it's the stuttering that's really the problem here. So the visible skips that you're seeing are frames that take like 2, 3, 4, 5 times the normal frame time and cause those jitters to occur. So I don't know. It's a pain. I'm just gonna have to deal with it for now. So it is what it is. There's a lot of time until October hits, and that's when Windows 10 expires. So the way that I look at it right now, I'm very disappointed that I've hit this kind of roadblock with Linux, but there's several months to figure this stuff out over time. So by then, hopefully, it'll be a lot better. And I think, well, I hope, let's say I hope, not that I expect necessarily, but I hope that people's reluctance to move to Windows 11 will get Epic to maybe prioritize a little more the stability and the feature set of the Linux version of Unreal. So maybe they can get live coding to work. I don't know. I don't even know what's involved with it. So maybe it's a Windows only thing. Maybe it's not. I don't know. I didn't look too heavily into that. I just know that the Windows version is the only version with live coding. But if they can fix it, and I hope that they can prioritize it a little more, because I know a lot of people are just really do want off of it. You know, developers I'm talking about. You know, people on Blue Sky, you know, have mentioned it, kind of like, well, hey, how is that Linux stuff working out? And, you know, up until now, I've been like, wow, it's super great. But now it's catastrophic. So I don't know. We'll figure it out. We've got plenty of months until Windows 11 arrives. And I did try running Virtual Machine for both Windows 11 on Linux. So using Linux, virtualizing Windows 11, and using Windows 10 and virtualizing the Linux, and both of them don't work. And so I got some things I can maybe try. Some people on Blue Sky had mentioned a couple things, but I think that maybe my GPU doesn't support GPU sharing or whatever needs to take place in order to let the virtual machine access DirectX. So it can access OpenGL, maybe, but not DirectX, and Unreal Engine needs DirectX, put it that way. So I don't know. Part of me wanted to try using a virtual machine with Linux installed to see, you know, does that glitch or whatever is wrong with the Hot Reload, does it affect the virtual machine or not? Or does it only affect... Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, the stream is only on YouTube because Twitch, for whatever reason, is rejecting the feed. I don't know why. It just keeps saying it's unstable, and it won't show. It keeps flickering on and off, on and off. Since I've been off for the last few weeks, I haven't done my test stream to figure it out. So I don't know. I tried messing with it earlier, but I just couldn't get it to work, and I don't know. I don't know if it's a restream thing or my settings are wrong or Twitch is rejected. I have no idea. Everything's out of my control and exploding. All right, so it's wild. But yeah. So as far as the Linux stuff goes, I'm just gonna let it go for now. Just use Windows. Windows is working, and there's there's several months before we have to switch over and potentially ditch Windows forever. But until then, we'll just kind of go with it, and we'll just put up with Windows and its shitty performance. So that's pretty much it. So what do we change? Oh yeah, the boxes blow up into stuff. The other enemies also blow up into the same particles, but it doesn't make much sense because they're not junk piles, so them blowing up into junk pieces kind of looks dumb. But we'll fix that. We're gonna talk about that. I did a little bit of research to find out what other Mega Man games have done in regards to enemies blowing up into particles and what they've what kind of aesthetics they use or the choices that they make and why they may have made those choices. So we can get into that. I have recorded footage because it's good. It's good for reference. It's good for research, and we can go frame by frame and kind of see what's going on. So I'm just going to play the stuff that I recorded, and then we'll discuss kind of how that works. Oh, the camera scrolls between transitions now. Nice. Yeah, we worked on that in the previous stream, I think. Or I went over how that works, and I think we upgraded it a little bit. So that was weeks ago. It was like 4 weeks ago. Yeah, it's been in there for a little bit at this point. So yeah, I'll show you the footage. Mega Man. I'll explain why I've only got X3 and not X1 and 2. But yeah, we'll go through this. Just kind of like pay attention to when they explode. Yeah. So like, boom, boom, and the little pieces that fall out, because that's what we're looking at right now. We want to see like what did they do in the official games and what we might want to do for this remake. And then I'll tell you the conclusion that I came to at the end of it. What I like about X3 is that the pieces are pretty chunky, and a lot of them are pretty recognizable. For the most part, some enemies don't. And I think the reason for that is just memory limitations. I don't think they could get all the graphics loaded in. So here, X4. This one seems basically like the same thing as X3. It's just more specific. They had more memory to work with the PlayStation and all that, so they had more animations and graphics. So you see a lot of specific parts to the guys here. Like you see, the foot, the other foot, an arm, part of the torso. Like they're very specific debris. Like they're not generic stuff. When the poor Mets. Although let me go a few ahead. So there's that little band. So you see the little band he's got. You can see that. You see the foot, the helmet. They're all got his poor little eyes and mouth have fallen off. The poor guy. So I feel like X4 really just said, okay, let's do what X3 did, but just make it like better. And I think it works out. I think it works good. Yeah, you can really see how they're very specific with the big guy here. Okay, well, let's just go back. Boom, boom, boom. Like they kind of take pieces of the basic sprite and just kind of like there's the torso, there's the jetpack, you know. So it looks like it might be a simple process to do some of these things. At least to get some basic ones down, and then, you know, maybe we can refine them a bit more. So I think it looks pretty good. There's obviously a higher volume of pieces that fall off. Oh yeah, that was a good example too. That shield guy, like big pieces, very noticeable bits of the shield and other parts have come off. Oh yeah, then Mega Man 8 is very different. And I think I have a theory as to why they did what they did here. You'll notice that most of the parts are kind of generic. Basically everything blows up into gears and springs, and there's not very many specific pieces. So we've got a whole bunch of generic plates and springs and little bits of maybe metal or whatever flying all over the place. But then there's really only like 2 pieces that are specific to the enemy. It's the 2 turrets. And I think my theory on that is, I think when they had big chunky pieces, like, especially like big enemies like this thing, right? I think when you see something this big and oddly shaped bounce off the floor, like Mega Man 8 has them bounce off the floor, I think it doesn't look right. I think it looks a little goofy that it, as it is, just bounces and does not like rotate or tilt or anything. It's just a giant one piece and it bounces off the floor. I think that probably looks goofy, because I tried to simulate doing that and to me it did look goofy. So I think that's why there's not that many specific parts to the enemies when they blow up. Like, you see the propeller fly away, but what else here is specific to this guy? Nothing. There's just a spring and some like little yellow pieces and like a generic plate. But like everything blows up into those little yellow pieces. See, the yellow pieces here came out of these boxes even. So it's not specific to them. So you see the yellow pieces, these big plates. Like, these can bounce off the floor because they're really small and it doesn't really matter. And I think this part bounces off the floor, but the other one didn't. So it's kind of weird. I feel like they chose shapes that didn't look too weird, having some kind of physics interaction, right? And I think that's the defining difference between how 8 did it with the bouncing off the floor and not. And I think that's why they went with we're just gonna have springs and sprockets and little tiny metal bits flying around, because those don't look weird when they bounce off the ground. But if you were to take, where is it? Yeah. Not this one, but the next one. Imagine, if you will, something like this, without rotating, just hits the ground and doesn't like bounce and flip around or whatever. Very strange, I feel. And I think that's kind of the real divider between the way the X games and the Mega Man 8 did it. Because that's the only game, I think, that has... The only 2D classic Mega Man that has the parts that explode out of enemies, I believe, is 8. 7 definitely didn't do it. And 9 and 10 were NES style, so they wouldn't have done it in there. And then 11's 3D, so don't count. So that's kind of my conclusion. I think the big chunky bits, the recognizable bits, like you look at this even in motion. I'll get out of here. I'm not trying to search things. Like, you can tell, like, that's that dude's face. You can tell this is the cannon that was on his back. Like, they're very recognizable parts in X3. They're less recognizable, I think, in motion. And see, like, that's just literally just the thing on the dude's back. Like, you look at the design, yeah, it was just the shell and the head and this thing that they... Yeah, even before he got hit here, you see the cannon was shooting upwards. And it's basically the same thing that pops out at the end. So I feel like you could kind of just cut up the main sprite and then kind of break pieces and maybe put a couple cracks in it. I think the simplicity of X3 is nice. And X4's is more detailed, but that's also because it is a higher detail game in general. And I think using the volume of parts that X4 does with the recognizability and simplicity of the X3 sprites might be the way to go. That's what I've been thinking. Mega Man Base did not have particle explosions. It does not. It's actually more like Mega Man 7. In fact, I think Mega Man 7 shares the same engine with Mega Man Base. There's a lot of similarities between them, and I wouldn't be surprised that they just reuse 7, that engine, and just kind of put in the new sprites and all that. So it's interesting because Mega Man 8 obviously did do the particles, but I just don't think they had enough memory, especially if they were shoving the Mega Man 8 sprites into the Super Nintendo cartridge, which alone is a feat, to be honest. So I think they probably just didn't have any memory to do it with. And the sprites are pretty big too on screen, so they probably didn't have a lot of like on-screen memory to work with. So that's what I've been thinking. That's kind of how I want to do it. And yeah, I guess we'll kind of take a look at that. So let me bring up a sprite, and let me bring up a folder, because I saved these earlier so that we'd have them for stream. Excuse me. The pieces from Mega Man X3. So here, I mean, it really looks like what they did is they're just like, oh, okay, we copied this. Yeah, this piece. Yeah, we can make this piece. We'll just rip this off and rip his arm off. And yeah, what they just kind of made it a little extra round there. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I don't know, we'll do something like that. Hey, there we go, alright. You know. And then, I guess this is a missile? This must be a missile sprite. So they took a missile sprite, and then they're just like, yeah, let's just carve his face off here. Yeah, we can do that, you know. So I'm not gonna go through the whole thing, but you kind of see what they did. They just kind of erased the bits around it, and they're like, oh yeah, there we go, we got a part now. And they use that. I think we could kind of do the same simple process with the enemies that we've had created for Rulers of Space, and go in that direction and kind of see how that works out. And there's also just some generic pieces for sure in X3. I still have it open, right? If you look at especially these little fire ring guys when they get hit, there are almost no specific parts here. There's just, get out of here. I don't care about the search. Go back. Where am I? Okay. Okay. So there's just these little generic pieces that don't even look like they're part of the enemy. And these guys do blow up into a couple as well. So they have some pieces that are specific, like this one, and this one. Well, no, I thought I saw generic pieces off of that one before. Let's see. What's this? No, that one's pretty specific. Some of them it looks like they do blow up into some generic pieces as well. You can't really see it, but there's this little bit behind here. which is kind of like this plate doesn't look very specific. So we might be able to use some commonalities between them and then just give them a nice little randomized jump pattern, essentially. Yeah, like that one. That one looked pretty... Like there was a tiny piece that comes off of him. Yeah. Yeah, like these little bits, so they look pretty generic, you know? These are obviously part of the wheel, and that's his face. So... And there's another thing I want to do with this as well. Yeah, let's go back and look at that again. Yeah, like this bit and this bit, they really don't look like they came off of that enemy. They're just little tiny bits of whatever that's on them. Like, I don't see anything that kind of looks like that, so... but yeah, there's another thing I want to do with particles, and it's something I've been thinking about for a while, and we've discussed it internally as a team. But with little generic pieces like this that any enemy can use, like little bits, just make sure they're colored. You know, like similar to whatever. If you saw this bit colored in green, or blue, or purple, or orange, or whatever, it doesn't matter where it came from because it looks generic enough. If you take enough of those things and put them together, you can use them for a different purpose. And the purpose I'm thinking of is, in Mega Man games, sometimes it's hard to tell when a normal opponent, like a normal enemy, or even a mid-boss, is going to take damage specifically from a special weapon. How do you know you're doing extra damage to an enemy? You can't see their life bar. So it kind of came down to two things. I think the easy, less resource intensive way you could do it would be like, oh, well, instead of flashing white, maybe the enemy flashes red when you hit them with something, or they flash white and red, you know, something like that. I think that would be good. I did some stuff like that in Pocket Fighter EX to give certain specific moves a bit more juice to them, so to made them feel a little more dangerous, a little more heavy. And that was to have like I think it was a white, pink, red flash pattern. And but that was for like the whole screen. The characters themselves didn't flash, but the whole screen did flash. In this case, I'm only talking about the characters specifically. But I think something like that would work if you didn't want to do a lot with it. But I think something that might be even more noticeable and cooler is have little generic parts fly off the enemies. Every time you hit them with something that is their weakness, have those particles fly out from the impact point. I think that would be really cool. So that's kind of the two things I want to do with the particles. One, just when they explode and they're defeated. But if you hit them with a special weapon, they can be hit, or they will give off little fragments of metal or whatever, you know, as you hit them. And that's kind of your cue. Oh, this weapon works on this enemy. It's actually a weakness to that character. And you could do that on mid-bosses too, and that would still be a good way, you know, to know what it is, other than otherwise you got to guess and check. You don't know because there's no feedback from them. You know, with bosses that have a life bar, the actual star droids in this case that we're going to be having as our stage bosses, you can just look at the life bar. Oh, how many units did that take off? Oh, well, that's their weakness. Or they might react specifically to it in a way that like makes them fall down or makes them get into a looped pattern or something like that. And mid-bosses and normal enemies traditionally just don't have that. So I think a good idea would be to take some of these generic-looking parts, collect them, and then just color them specifically for the enemy. That each enemy will have their own specific colored versions of them. And then you just use those. And anytime they get hit with a weakness, that you'll see that. I think that would be really cool. That was one thing I liked about Mega Man 11. Enemies would emit pink sparks when you use a weapon. Oh, really? I actually didn't notice that. That's cool. Yeah. I'm personally not a big fan of 11, so I don't play it very much. So I actually never noticed that. But yeah, that's exactly it. And I think the Star Droids, just to be consistent, the Star Droids should also probably emit those little sparks, or not sparks, because I'm reading the message, but the little metal fragments I think should fall off of them too. Or like in some cases, like Mercury's mostly goo, maybe it's goo fragments or something. But you know, they can be specific to that character if they're made with something, you know, some other material. But I think, you know, making that consistent for all the characters, even though you technically could just check their life bar, just because all the other characters do it, all the normal enemies do it, and the mid bosses will do it, I think the Star Droids should also have that issue, or not issue, but that effect. So I think it'll come out good. I may also do the red flash, the kind of the white red white. Or it could be. I want to do black white. And I don't know if any Mega Man game does that. But sometimes if you have a bright background and the enemy just turns white or just turns invisible for a frame, it can be a little hard to see that, or it can make visibility a little low in those instances. So I want to do black to white. And you'll see games like Kirby will do this too. When you hit the enemy, or either the hit spark or something, it goes from black to white to black to white, or just from black to white, depending on how long it lasts. And that there's a specific reason they do that, is because if you have a bright background, you'll see the black, and you probably won't see the white too well. And if you have a dark background, you won't see the black too well, but you will see the white. So you'll get it either way. Whether it's a light room or a dark room, you'll be able to see that effect. And I've actually already done this, and I don't know if anybody's actually noticed this, but the Buster Shots, when they hit, they have a dark frame. Unless it's not showing up, I don't know. Let's see. I'm going to step through frame by frame, but watch when it hits this. Boop, 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 boop. Boom, there it is. There's the black frame. And then since it's already bright, I don't need a white frame after it, because it goes from black. Well, it's mostly white and it's yellow. So it's a very good color. You can see it mostly in the test area of the stage, which I've sort of blocked off at this point, but I think it will work if I just put them over here. Because this one, you can, if you're looking, I don't know if it's coming through okay on the stream, you should be able to actually visibly see the black screen or the black frame, because it's a bright background. So I'm going to keep shooting. And you're probably seeing the black for a split second there. I see it on my end, but of course I'm not dealing with any potential frame loss on the stream or whatever. But I can definitely tell there's the black frame in there. But when you go back to here, you don't see it because the background is dark. So you only see the white, or the bright yellow and white part of the effect. And then right now, the enemies only flicker when they're hit. You can tell because the green pillar behind the box shows up when he flashes. But that will change. And the reason I haven't done that yet is because the enemies are not in the palette system yet. Not that they can't be, it's just that we didn't make them paletted yet. So I gotta... Probably won't be doing that in the prototype. I'll probably save that for when we do the fresh new project file. And then we could reformat all the stuff, or all the sprites for the enemies, and put them in a palette order. But one step at a time. So let me put Mega Man back where he was. We don't really need to go to the test area. There, he's back. So that's the idea. That's the overview of what I want to do with this and the reasons behind it and all that. So I guess we could just try one. See what happens. Let me dig up a file. I got it. It's a different file system now that I'm back on Windows. So I'm like, where is this stuff now? I think I know where it is. Let's see. Yeah, enemies. Let's do Chainsaw first. The enemy that runs around. This guy. Let's do him first. I think he'll be easier to tackle. So there's him. He's bouncing around, doing his thing. There's also the turning animation, which actually could give a more dynamic look here. So if we take a sprite from here, take the head from here, right? Instead of just taking the sideways one, because it's already rotated, kind of dynamic, right? That'll probably look good. Yeah. To take the head, and honestly, even like one of the arm parts, or like the wheel that's kind of like tilted up. This probably be a good frame to salvage some of this stuff on. So yeah, I mean, I think probably the best way to go about this is to just take multiple frames and start ripping their pieces off and see what we get. And we'll end up with more pieces than we'll probably use, for sure. And but that's okay. That's all right. And then I think we'll also collect some generic looking pieces from here, kind of use that as a reference. I mean, we could honestly just copy them, take that, color it something else. In fact, why don't we do just that? I'm sorry, I'm a bit congested today. I've got new medicine from all the health problems cropping up, and I've got higher dosage on some other medicines, and some of that makes my mouth dry, apparently. It's one of the side effects, so that could also be why I'm feeling a bit kind of, it just feels weird. Excuse me, jeez. But it just kind of is what it is. Oh yeah, these little pieces, these look generic as hell. Actually, look at that. It's almost the same piece. I actually thought it was the same for a second. They are different, but it might as well be the same in the way that they're shaped. Excuse me. I noticed there was another shape when he blew up in the footage that's not here. So I don't know. Maybe there is, excuse me, a shared one somewhere. These ones look relatively specific, so we don't want to use those. Those are pretty specific, and we saw these three in the footage as well. Yes, we looked at all of these, I think. These are just the copter wings. Now let's look at the, yeah, we got that one. Let's go bottom to top. Feels a little easier to do that. These ones are very specific, but yeah, look, like they didn't even really do much to this one. They just copied it and erased the purple portion and called it a day. They didn't even round out the side of the thing. Yeah, so I don't think these have to be like super, yeah, like look at this. They just chopped it in half. They just sliced it off and said, yeah, good enough. And honestly, you don't really even notice it. And again, yeah, this shape is almost identical to the other ones. Like I said, we're going to collect more than we're probably going to use, but I just want a kind of a comprehensive sample here of all the generic looking parts. Rocks definitely can use rock particles for certain things. Uranus's weapon, Uranus, whatever you want to call it. He throws a rock and it shatters, kind of like Gutsman. So that'll definitely be something we could do. Why not add some internal components for generic pieces, springs, cogs, etc., like Mega Man 8? The only reason that I don't want to do that is that then that feels almost too generic, if that makes sense. Everything explodes into the same cogs and springs and stuff, and they're very noticeable as to what they are. Like when you see these, they're just kind of like little bits and pieces. They're just kind of non-distinct. When you see like a gear, it's like, oh, okay, I see it. It's a sprocket or whatever it is. And you just see it over and over and over and over and over and over. And it feels, I don't know, it's just something very different. It has a very different vibe than just like the way that X3 and 4 do it. And I just kind of don't like it. The fact that everything is so similar in that regard. And to be clear, like for these generic pieces, these are mostly going to be used for like when they get hit by a weakness, or there might be like one or two of these that accompany the big parts that fly off. But it's not going to be like 40 of them fly out of every enemy like Mega Man 8. That's almost like confetti at that point. And I feel like it's just not a good fit for Mega Man 7 graphics, if that makes sense. The more Super Nintendo-y. Mega Man 8's very squishy and very soft and Play-Doh-like and jelly-like and just cutesy, squishy. But Mega Man 7 is not really like that. It has a bit of a serious kick to it that the Mega Man 8 doesn't seem to do. So, you know, for that reason, for both of those reasons, I think that the generic cartoony springs and sprockets don't really fit so much for Mega Man 7, if that makes sense. So for generic pieces, I prefer just like scraps of metal having been torn off or something like that. And then the rest of them can be the big noticeable, very noticeable pieces of what's come off. And there's sort of a point where there's too much as well. I don't want to go too hard on it. I think that a balance either between X3 and X4 or more toward an X4's kind of like volume, I think makes the most sense for what we're doing. As kind of like this sort of cross-generational title, like it's a late-gen Super Nintendo / maybe have been ported to the PS1 kind of title, and X3 was that. X3 was on the Super Nintendo, but it was also on the PlayStation and also on Saturn. And PC too, actually. The PlayStation and or Saturn version did get ported to PC. So that's the kind of vibe that we're looking for. It's like, take what the Super Nintendo did and then just kind of crank it up a little bit more. That's kind of what I'm trying to go with. But don't go so far that it just doesn't look at all like the same kind of technology, I guess, if that makes sense. You maybe want to think of it as we are expanding what you expect out of a Super Nintendo, but not pushing the game so hard that you're expecting all the features of a PlayStation to be utilized. Maybe that makes the most sense in terms of what I'm trying to get at. Hello. Hello and welcome. So yeah, let's start ripping this guy's arms off. To put it in a morbid way, right? I'm not sure any one frame here is necessarily better than another. This is probably the most neutral one out of them. Oh, no, let's see. So, oh, good. So Aaron did this one, Egoraptor. He did this enemy. And he does have the the layers here, so that makes it much easier. And we'll take this as both a color and a shape sample too, because we might pull a couple of these from here and use the same color. So, oh, what happened? How come I didn't get... Oh, wait, no, I was on the wrong layer. Wrong layer, the bane of all digital artists. And then now we can take the arm layer and do that. Now the blade comes off and becomes another enemy. So we're not going to have the blade flying off of him. Okay, so only this one is different here. That's alright. We'll just rip them apart the good old-fashioned way. So let's take this frame, and that frame could be good too. I think we're gonna might take the head off of this frame. And then these frames are pretty much like the idol, just with different arms. I don't think these arms would make a good falling off of him kind of look. So I think we'll go this way. Is that Morgan's music from Darkstalkers 3? It's definitely Morgan's music. I'm honestly not sure which one it's from. This specific version is from Namco X Capcom, which was a PlayStation 2 strategy RPG. It was the prequel to Project Cross Zone. It was the first game in that series. It just says Darkstalkers, so... Oh, it says Vampire Hunter. That was the second game. So, I'm assuming that was from Darkstalkers 2 then. A little known fact, or at least I didn't know for a very long time, that Yuzo Koshiro? Is it Yujo? Man, I'm terrible with names. The Streets of Rage guy. The guy who composed Streets of Rage composed Namco X Capcom music. And he came back for Project... No, he was absent for Project Cross Zone, but he came back for Project Cross Zone 2, I think. And so the games that he did in that series are absolutely phenomenal music. Really, really good stuff. And the one that he didn't do was kind of terrible. The music was awful. Like, I couldn't even listen to it. I was like, what happened? Was he busy? Did you not offer him enough money? Like, what's going on here? Alright, let's take some parts here. This one looks like a nice, easy one. Here. A little shoulder pad. Yuzo Koshiro. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I'm bad with names. Really bad with names. Yeah, I was thinking J, like Y-U-J-O, but it's Y-U-Z-O, Yuzo Koshiro. Yeah. Yeah, Brave New World is great. Absolutely. And he comes back and he brings back those tracks from the first one in Project Cross Zone 2, I think it was. And then I think he remixed ones from Project Cross Zone 1 as well and put his own spin on them. It's phenomenal. Project Cross Zone 2 has a great soundtrack, if that's the one I'm thinking of correctly. I think this arm makes the most sense. Maybe. That or the other one. Well, let's see how it looks. And in fact, I think I'm going to erase... Yeah, contiguous, right? Yeah. I think I'm going to erase this part. And look, you can be pretty lazy with this. Because quite honestly, nobody's going to be really looking at it. Here. Like that little rounder. Oh. Nah, I like the little sharp point on there. Yeah, and then maybe this arm. But we'll keep the gold piece on it. Because otherwise, if it's just a dark black bit, it's not going to be very visible. So you want to make sure that there's something in there that's going to stand out. There. So we've got this shoulder here. No, this shoulder on this side, and the opposite arm from the other side. Now they may be flying in opposite directions, either or. Excuse me, when they actually fly off here, but because then it doesn't look like it's if you took this arm and this, like they look like they should be connected, it will look too much like they go together. Oh, there. The wire on my headphones is getting kind of loose. So oh my god, stop. It's killing me. The right earphone is going dead. Stay put. There, thank you. It just drives me nuts when I can't hear in both ears like that. Who is better, Yuzo Koshiro or Hideki Naganuma, composer of Air Gear and JSR? JSR, what does that stand for? I'm having a brain fart on that one. Didn't Hideki do the... Oh, Jet Set Radio. That's what I was trying to think of. Well, what the hell is the name of that game with the graffiti? It's Jet Set Radio. Yeah, JSR. Yeah. I'll be completely honest. I have not played either of those games. I've not played Jet Set Radio. So I don't know anything about it. I know that people really like the music, and I really like the style of the game, but I have actually never played it. So I don't know. Yeah, Jetto Seto Radio. I've heard some memes about it, but I've never actually played it, so I honestly can't answer the question. This tire looks the same as this one. No, not quite. We'll take this one. It has a nice angle to it. I know it's sacrilege, but like, I guess it's a skateboarding game, right? And I'm not like into skateboarding, so I never like really thought to play it. I don't know if my wife has. I don't know if she's in chat or not, if she's listening. Sometimes she is. If you're in chat, have you played Jet Set Radio? And if so, what's it like? Because I don't remember. We're gonna turn this one upside down. You know what? Let's get crazy with it. Let's flip it to the side. Yeah, look at that. That definitely looks like it flew off. That thing is really off axis. Airgear is a manga, and much of it's based off of what the sporty vibe of Jet Set Radio is. Instead of them being modified inline skates, they are electronic inline skates. Okay, that sounds cool. And then I guess it must have been made a game, or did it become an anime and he did like the soundtrack for that? Or again, I don't know anything about that one. Oh yeah, the head. We wanted maybe this head because it's already tilted. So again, we can just go with it. Honestly, if like it looks a little broken like this, then that's fine. Should he have a blank expression? Like just kind of like he's gone, he's out. The light is gone from his eyes. That's a bit more morbid than. It looks appropriate though. And we need like a crack or something. Something's got to be like wrong here, right? Because he's broken. He's screwed up. Like even maybe like this part's missing, yeah. Like yeah, like he's messed up. It's done. It's over for him. Yeah. Yeah, that looks appropriately screwed up. Yeah, he's messed up. Sorry, bro. Your time is up. He did the composition of the anime. Okay. And it's based off of that urban hip hop like music that just hit Radio Underground. Fair enough. Fair enough. That's cool. So he really gets around then in terms of like he doesn't do just games. And that's really neat. I like when composers branch out like that. Is that too morbid? Is it too morbid to see his dead eyes flying off? I feel like, yeah, I feel like the head should be pretty recognizably that direction. Well, I don't want to delete these, but I do kind of want to move them out of the way here. I feel like we got a good set of recognizable pieces off of him. So then if we take like these, for example, and say we like look at this frame, right? We don't have much blue. So we want a blue here. G. So we'll color this blue for him. I think we'll maybe put a couple here, something like that. Nah, that's a little dark for that corner. Yeah, fine. There's your generic pieces. He's got a big white spot, so like this piece, we don't really need that. But the blue was very underrepresented here. So, I feel like the arm looks a little too intact. L? Wait, what L? Because he got messed up. Yeah, he's not doing too good. I think the pauldron here needs to be broken or something. It looks a little too whole. So we can take like a divot here, like it's messed up. Something like that. That looks alright. Yeah. That looks appropriately messed up. Oh, this is a W? Okay. The wheel, I think that's fine to just leave as is. I mean, what else would you do unless it like popped? But that would probably look a little weird. So the arm here, the arm definitely needs to be roughed up a little. So what I want to do is kind of something like that at least. And then I don't know if like this should have cracks in it or something. Yeah, that looks pretty messed up. Yeah, there we go. That looks alright. Yeah. There we go. That's our first little bit of pieces here. Poor guy. I feel bad having done this to him. But yeah, it is what it is. He'll get over it. So the next part is then taking these pieces and putting them like in its own little file. So I'm going to just copy one of the files we already have, and I'm gonna call it pieces. So en chainsaw pieces. Assuming I spelled that correctly. The en, by the way, stands for enemy, so we prefix. Unreal does this a lot, or the convention when working Unreal is to kind of prefix things, so like BP for blueprint. So en we use for enemy, and then the name of the enemy, and then what the action is. You can't see it here because it's cut off, but it says pieces. So we're gonna get rid of, well, we're gonna turn this one, I'm just gonna call this layer sprites. We're gonna get rid of that one, get rid of this, get rid of this, and we're just gonna put one piece on each frame here. So I'm going to make a copy of this and cut them so we don't do it twice. And now on this layer, we're gonna try to make them kind of like, it doesn't have to be perfect, but just kind of in the center here. And we'll do each one. Whoop! Not that way. Oh, hold on. Next frame first. Then paste. And this way we can do these small ones too, and they will also double for when you hit them with a weakness and the little bits come out. And there. And we did not use the last one, so we delete, and the whole thing will export all of it. And then we'll turn the guides off here, but then you can see each frame is just one of the pieces. So we'll save that. You gotta do 000.png if you want them to be separate images. So I'm gonna say only the sprite group and only the export frames, which happens to be all of them, but just for safety. Oh, it's in the right place? Okay. Is it? Yeah, it's in the right place. So if you put the 000.png in here, it will automatically try to export them as frames. So it'll say, do you want to export the animation as 6 files, 0000001, etc. I do. And here they are. And so what I need to do now, well, before I end up actually trying to export this, I have to check if I change the things here. Yeah, I want to make these relative paths and not absolute paths, because these were hard-coded with the actual files, but that was from my old hard drive. But I don't think Game Dev's on D anymore, and we're certainly not using these folders anymore because I moved it to a network drive so we could share the files easy. So save path would just be that. Okay, let's save that file and then we'll actually open it. And it looks, yeah, because see the period slash, that looks right. So we want to add the folder enemies, chainsaw, pieces. And there it is. There's the pieces. It adds them to the texture map. And we should be able to just, well, let's save first. Control S and then export, replace existing file. And it looked like it updated, so we can tell if we look at the thing here. Yeah, here's the broken pieces. So, okay, it worked. And now we're going to take that and import that into Unreal. So finally, we're in Unreal Engine. I'm just gotta. It added the new file, the folder here, but I gotta make sure it's a relative file path again. I hate that it doesn't do that by default, or maybe it would like save both, and if it finds that it's relative, it'll continue to do it. I don't know. I'm not sure what a good idea for that would be. But for now, I'll just manually put up with it. Oh yeah, enemies, chainsaw, frames. So here, the enemy chainsaw sprites, that is the file, this file that I had exported. So we're gonna drag this in and cancel? Import override asset sprites. Do you want to convert this import to a re-import? Yes, yeah, we want it to re-import. Okay, and then that is the correct one. It's got the pieces. Let's keep this over here. And the frames should have stayed the same. I don't know if we can we see thumbnails? Looks like it. But how do I change the view here? Was it over here? Oh wait, or is that on the bottom? No, it's not on the bottom. Am I just missing it? Am I blind? I'm blind. Where is, here's vertical, horizontal. Show folders. Oh, it's up here. Tiles. Yeah. Okay, it looks like everything came in. So you see the original frames. It didn't duplicate anything, and it's got the new pieces, so yeah, that looks good. Okay, then we already have the code that handles that, so we should be able to open Chainsaw's blueprint here. That's the blade, and this is the main one. And then, so what I did here is I added here destruction sprites. And by default, there's these junk ones that you've seen that were just the placeholders. But I'll erase that and then add the chainsaw parts. So piece 1 or 0. Piece 2. Or I'm sorry, that was 1. And then this is 2, because it starts at 0. And chain 3. Chain 4. Chainsaw 5. And there it is, all 6 parts. It starts at 0, 0 plus 5. 0 to 5 is 6 elements. So we're gonna save that, compile, and it should just work. Gonna find out. There he is. Hey, there we go. He blew up into little bits. Oh, you can see his head. I feel so bad for him. The poor bastard. Boom. Yep, and that's it. And he blows up. I think the pieces are a little too fast, but other than that, I think they look pretty good. Boink. And away they go. So how about that? I think it was pretty good. There's another one down here. This is probably a little easier to see, so I can hit him quickly. Yeah, see, that looks pretty good. Yeah, I think they are going too far though. So I believe that's in the enemy base here. Destruction sprites, destruction pool. But where? Did I just hard code it? Are we right here? What is this? Unfatally hurt. Spawn the explosions. Here's the destruction sprites. Oh, you know what I did? I put them in here. I wish you could just jump to whatever this is. Here, set sprite. Okay, this is in destruction part base. Yeah, here's all the variables now. So the horizontal speed, okay, that gets generated at runtime. Here, horizontal speed range is 250. I'm gonna put that at 180 instead. And let's see what that looks like. Okay, that's not quite enough, maybe. It's hard to tell, it is randomized, so let's just make sure that it's not. Okay, that looked a bit better, so it was a victim of randomization. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. They don't look too fast now. I feel like Mega Man X3's didn't bounce quite as high. Potentially. So let's look at that, maybe even that out a little bit. So current jump speed, so the gravity is generated, jump time low and high. So that, you can't see it, it's off the screen here, but 20 frames out of 60, at 60 hertz and 25. Wow, that makes a big difference, honestly. Let's do 23 to 25. Oh, maybe the height is the other problem. Oh yeah, 22 to 96 pixels. Yeah, that's okay. I think the time wasn't so much the issue here. I'm still gonna do 22 frames to 25 frames. Let's try that. And then we'll reduce the height difference. 96 is just like way too high, right? So 32 frames? Let's say 22 to 32? Let's try that. See, we'll just adjust it until it looks right. Oh, and you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna put Mega down here. Shift. Scrolls the map. I'm gonna put him right here, and that way we'll be right next to a good spot to test. There. Okay, that did not go very high, and it was very slow. I feel like the height has to be a little more, and the time has to be much shorter. So the height can be, I don't know, 32 plus 16, 48. Let's try 48 to 26. 48 to 26 pixels high. And then time-wise, I want to try 15 to 20. Okay, that's a decent spread. Then it does. At least they're not getting thrown at light speed or going too high, you know. They do all seem to be falling relatively at the same speed, though. So let's see. Maybe let's make that a little higher. Time low. Let's do one at 13. And oh wait, no, that's I want it to go slower. So what's it? 15 to 25. Let's say 28 on the high end, and we'll keep the 15 on the low end. A couple frames can make the difference for sure. The slower they are, also the kind of the less distracting they are too, because they're not moving at hyperspeed. That said, these ones might be a little too slow. maybe the better answer was to actually reduce the time instead. So let's try 12 on the low end and 24 on the high end. Let's see what that looks like. And that might be a little bit better. I kind of like that. I think the range needs to be narrowed a little. So let's pull it in a couple points. So high end 22, low end 13, maybe? That looked pretty good. It didn't spread out very far, but that did look good. It's always gonna, it's got that randomness to it, so sometimes it's gonna look faster or slower, but I kind of wonder if I should create how do I want to put it? Like, instead of having complete random, could potentially have like semi-random, where it's like there's certain parameters for this is a fast one and this one is a slow one, and something like that, or this one is a high one, this one is a low one, and then just pick a sprite and then put it in one of those categories, and then it gets a random range that's a little more finely controlled. Not sure exactly what to do with that. Or how would that be handled? I mean, I could copy the array and work off of that and then pull one out each time at random. Sorry, getting messages. So here, let me pull up the, wait, that's the wrong one. I'm looking for chainsaw here. So we have this array, right? And you don't want to just, I don't know. I think it would be better to have a more even spread of these specific types of fast and high and, you know, slow and low and, you know, in terms of how high it goes up and how fast it does that. If you put those into more specific ranges, like this one's going to be a fast one, this one's going to be a high one, this one's going to be a slow one, this one's going to be a low one, and then pick one of the pieces out of this to use, but you have to remove it from the list and then keep pulling one at random. Because if you do, you either randomize which part gets pulled out and the sequence of speed parameters is always consistent, or the sequence of speed parameters is random and the parts are consistent. But I think that you want a more specific sequence of the speed and then pick a part at random to push into that. And we can do that. It's a little more computationally expensive, but it doesn't happen every frame, so it might be okay. So let's try that. So I don't know why that node couldn't be copied, but okay. That was weird. Copy, paste. Yeah, strange. Okay. Spawn actor from pool. From actor pool. Same node, right? Looks like it. I guess you kind of do care about whether it's successful or not, because you don't want to bother doing the cast. So maybe I'm going to use my branch one here. And then if it's successful, it will attempt the cast, otherwise it's not going to bother. Let's try that. Okay, and then it picks a sprite. So here we're going through the sprites at a normal deterministic kind of thing here. But can we copy this? Get a copy? No, that's not what we want. Oh, I made this. Copy to and copy from. I made this one. This is my node. I guess there must not have been one actually in there. Okay, so copy to, we're gonna make this, well, copy from, well, don't work? How did I program this? I must have tested it at some point. Custom thunk. Okay, so where is this one then? Did I forget to put a custom? Oh, here it is. That should be the same, yeah? Yeah, it's the same spelling. Actually, not sure why this doesn't work. Because you can make a generic array node here. I mean, I do it all the time. Like array is empty? I don't know, maybe they broke? I wonder if, because, no, that one works. And that one's mine. So what the hell's the difference between this one and the other one? T array int 32. They're both refs. This one's not a ref though. Is that why they can't be refs? Maybe they can't be refs. This, damn it. Where am I going? Okay, this is the is empty array. Const array here. This one's a const array. Maybe I have to set the first one first? No. I'm actually not sure. Because you see this one's showing up as a wild card, but this one's not. I'm not seeing the difference between these. Const target array. The only thing that is different is the ref. Maybe I gotta take the ref off? We could try it. I wouldn't necessarily advise changing something like that though. Oh, I didn't like that. Oh, you know why? I know exactly why. Down here, it's looking for a reference. No, maybe not. I don't know. Well, let's look at the error, I guess. Actually, it's not a good idea to edit headers necessarily like that on the fly. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but I should probably just close the editor. Oh, it already crashed for me, did it? No, it's here. It's here. I'm just going to save and close, and we'll reboot the editor in a second once we figure out what's up with this. Copyright array. Okay, first things first, let's get everything on one screen so I can kind of take a look at it. Oh, all this is metadata, okay. Oh, display name doesn't have to be in meta. I think I see the problem. I named copy to and copy from, but I named them weird. I think that's why it wasn't picking up on it. It has to be these two. Okay, these probably should be ref. We get no, can't get keywords on that one. Okay, and category, I've been putting them up here now consistently. Okay, that looks a little more organized at least. So then I can clearly see the parameters here. Okay, I'm positive that's what it was. I was using these names and not these for the array parameters. I guarantee that's gonna fix it. So maybe I renamed it at some point for some reason, or I don't know. Yeah, well, we'll figure it out. And I'm gonna make a note for myself too. Array params were wrong for copy array in generic array extension.h. So we should check the other ones and see if there are any mismatches remaining. There, how about that? That's a good note. Okay, we builded Let's try it out. Put this back over here. And oh, good. Yeah, I bet that was it. Cause see now there, yeah. I mean, you copy into yourself. You don't want to do that, but yeah. So we want to copy from here, but we want to make a new. I don't probably have to do it normally. What is this? Paper Sprite object references. Okay. Local temp tape or temp destruction sprites. Paper sprite object reference. Oh, it's not an array. I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. Something's not right here. I did not set it to an array. Yeah, please, thank you. Okay. There we go. Okay. So, copy from the destruction sprites. Okay, we can't use the fast for each loop here either. Well, we don't need to use... Do we need to use the for each loop? No, we don't. We need a while. Do we have a while loop? We do have a while loop. Yeah, okay, that works. Is empty. So while, or wait, how about is not empty? It's not empty. While this is not empty, we have to pull out a sprite. So get, is this just a normal get a copy? I guess you just get a copy. It's a pointer, so it should be fine. Oh wait, get random. Let's see. But where's the object reference though? Did I screw up another node? I swear I used this one somewhere else too. Why are there 3 of them? What did I screw up? Oh, it just because it sends you back a random index. That's right. I don't know why there's multiple of them. It might have screwed up when I was doing different nodes. Well, we know it's not empty, so we don't need to check if it's successful or not. We just want the thing. So, yeah, we'll do that. Get the random element, and then get a copy. And do we need a temp variable? Or no? Because I think we just... What is this? This is just a sprite, right? We gotta spawn an actor still. Okay. Hold on. These are kind of out of order. Now, here's what I'm gonna do. Oh, sorry, wrong one. let's do this. And we're gonna move this later. So we want to spawn the base for the sprite, where the sprite's gonna get put into. Then if that succeeds, then we want to do the spawned actor. Yeah. The spawned actor goes here, gets converted into the destruction part, and this is what's going to be asking for the random thing. So this connects to here, this connects to here, and we're going to have a little bit of a reroute here to make sure it doesn't get to be too spaghetti. So we generate the random. One of these is probably supposed to be a I don't know. Let's see. Hold on. I figured one of these was supposed to be a pure node. Alright, this one's definitely supposed to be a branch. Where's the other one that I made? Get random element. Oh yeah, I definitely did not give them different names. This one's a branch. Oh, I see what. No, here it is. That should. And that does, but it doesn't give it the icon that it's supposed to have. That's strange. When it has that, well, let's do each one. Get random. Okay, that's the top one. Get random middle. Okay, that one's definitely not the branch version. Get random array. So then, okay, here's the one that's the branch. This is what it should be doing. Automatically formatting the branch one, so that's this one. That seems correct. Okay. We did that one already. Just using that to bookmark it for a minute. Okay, this one's a different one. It is not a branch. It's not pure, which is good. It shouldn't be. Get random element index. Okay. Yeah, all these names are the same. I may have accidentally copied and pasted the wrong ones. Wait, this is pointing to the same one again. So they're just being listed multiple times for some reason? Yeah, they're being listed multiple times. I'm not sure why. I don't know if that's an Unreal goof or a me goof. Wacky. So these are duplicates. These are the only two real ones, which makes sense. Okay, we don't need the success. Because again, we already know it's not empty, so it's gonna get something. I probably should do it like this. In which case, these can go low. Okay, so we're getting the sprite. Now maybe this should go high. It's turning into spaghetti. Here we go. I'm a real Blueprint developer now. I've got a mess of nodes going on here. Okay. Okay, this should be all right. There is not a pure version of this one, by the way, because it returns two values. If you have a pure node, which is like this one, that returns two values, guess what? That node gets called twice. One for each return value, and that's a big no-no. So if you have two return values, you really should just make it this, because these two return values go into temporary variables off blue nodes. But if it's a green one, then you got problems. Because it will just do it twice. The code will execute twice. And in that case, it would be running the random number generator twice and getting two different results. And that's bad news. It would give you the success or fail for either the first or second roll. And then whatever, if this was first, you get the success or fail for the first roll, and you get the random element output for the second roll. That would not be great. Would not be good, so you can't do that. In this case, we don't care about the success, but we still need to make sure it's only doing one roll. I mean, even just from an efficiency standpoint, you don't want to have to roll two random numbers when you could just use one. Okay, and when all that's done, then we have to remove at, yeah, remove index, remove item, remove index, which is, you know what I'm gonna do, hold up. I think this is good practice. I don't see a lot of people do this, but I think if you have multiple values coming off of something, I think you should do it like this. It goes to this, and then this splits off in however many directions you need it to. Has nothing to do with the efficiency, but I think it's more understandable when you look at it. And you're like, okay, what if I change where this comes from and all of a sudden it comes from over here? Well, I only have to connect one thing. Instead of connecting one down here and one here and wherever, you only have to connect one thing and all the things will hook back up because they're supposed to be the same value. So I think that makes a lot of sense to do it that way. Okay, and then we remove the index and we check it again. And this should be all the temp destruction sprites. Temp. And then we need that copy here. Okay, we don't need that anymore. So we do need to make that copy because we are going to be removing ones out of the copy. So copy to here and copy from here. And put a little leading dot here. This is our new version of the code. This is the old version. So let's separate this out a little more. We're gonna disconnect the old one and put the new one in. Now we have not changed the random, we did not change the random parameters yet, but we do want to make sure this works at all. We should effectively see no difference here. So this is going to get wiped and filled with whatever's in here. God hoping this works. And I didn't make a stupid broken node. And then it should go all the way until it removes every index. It'll pull a random one out, assign it, and throw it away until all of them are gone. And then when it's completed, we don't have it connected to anything. It will just go back to the sequence and it'll actually go back down here. Let's remove that one in the middle that was connected to nothing. And then despawns returns. Okay. Should work. Uh-oh. type is undetermined. It does not like it. Why? We're gonna restart the editor. Yeah, we're gonna restart the editor one more time. I think it's getting goofed up for some reason. Not only were there multiple copies of the same node for some reason, but you know what? I'm gonna do a full rebuild. How about that? We're gonna rebuild all the code and see what happens, because that was kind of weird and goofy. Makes me wonder if maybe I haven't tested these nodes in a long time. Maybe something in the newer versions of Unreal don't like it anymore. Oh, let's see. Target array, that is the array param there. Target array, that is the array parameter there. Okay. That's good, at least. Target array, copy from. Ah, here it is. Here it is. Here it is. Used when the array param has been specified to indicate other function parameters should be treated as well. Yeah. I think this is supposed to be this. It was another goof. It was another rename goof. In which case we have to stop the rebuild and do it again. But this will take a minute. So how's everybody's day going? We're gonna be here for a minute while that goes. Realistically though, I think this should work good when we're finished with it. It's 11. Let's say I started at 9 to 10. Wait, Windows lies to me about the time. No, it is 11. Okay. Okay, so we're on 2 hours now. I can't go too long. I don't want to make myself sick. That's for sure. I was going to say, is there any other topics I can touch on in a moment? We talked about Windows versus Linux already. I guess one thing to add to that, when SteamOS comes out, right now the SteamOS on the Steam Deck is really not happy. Oh, it's done. Cool. It's really not happy when you decide to dual boot. It's really not designed for that, and I kind of hope that they fix that when they bring it over to being used as a desktop OS, because I definitely need dual booting. I would be okay, I think, with SteamOS being the operating system that I use for Linux. But I don't know about... Oh, okay, so it did fix that one, I think. Yeah, so we gotta fix this one, though. But it did fix this one. Okay. I know what's wrong now, so... This also needs... this one. Array type dependent parameters. Yeah, I think. Yeah, and it's got to be the same. It's got to be the same one. And then this random element, the other one's probably also going to need it if it doesn't have it. Okay. And target array. It's already target array. Okay. Compile. We shouldn't do this while it's open. Well, it should succeed, but it may get goofy. Which means we'll have to restart it anyway, but we'll see. Is it happy now? It is not, but we're gonna restart. Okay, we closed it. Let's build it and relaunch it. And hope it works. And if it doesn't, we could go about it a different way. You still don't like it? Do I have to reconnect it? You still don't like it? What's wrong? How come I don't like it? It is the same error as the last one. But yeah, notice how it doesn't change the type like it does here. So if we disconnect these, damn it, get out of the way. Boink. See? It knows enough to knows enough to make them all the same. But there's something wrong with this one where it doesn't want to do it. That's target array param. Maybe it has to be a ref. Maybe that's a problem. I'm just gonna do it, see what happens. Trying to make a new node? No, I'm trying to fix my old node. I swear I used these before. But it doesn't seem to like connect anymore for some reason. Maybe because I'm using that new node type? Oh, there it goes. Yep. That's what it wanted that. I guess. Well, let's compile. Nope, still an error. Target array is undetermined. Connect something to the node to imply a specific type. But yeah, we did that. It worked here. So what's wrong here? I swear I've used these nodes before. So the array param, target array. It's a ref. This is the non-branch one, yeah. That's the only one. And we added this because the copy one, the copy node had this. And this one works. These are refs. So what's up here? What's the deal? Why doesn't it want to find it? Well, I didn't restart it this time, right? Did I restart the editor? Okay, if I didn't, let's do it, just to be safe. Well, we're not on Linux right now, so there should be no damn compile problems or hot reload problems. But changing headers on the fly, not necessarily the most recommended workflow. No? No, still the same error. I mean, I don't think that, this is like, because that's a custom node that I made, and that one works. Well, let's break out the stuff here. And it only has the array param. So this one should not need this one anyway. What else is here? Well, this is a branch, so it's got that. It's got the target array, it's got the blueprint safe, thread safe. Notice that this one doesn't have our special style. I wonder if the style is what's killing it. It could be the custom node style. So I'm gonna add it to this one node that we know that works and see what happens, to see if it stops working. Because it might have to make a special kind of node to support this. Let's see what happens. Figures there'd be something wrong with using special fancy nodes with their own icons and watch it not work anymore. No, it works! Wait, no, that's the old version though. That's the old node. Yeah, look, it's got the same problem. It's got the same problem. See how it's gray instead of blue? It's got the same problem. I bet it's the node style. It didn't exactly error here, but it has the same symptom where these ones have turned blue. These ones did not. Okay, just for the heck of it, maybe it doesn't compile nodes that like aren't there. Connected? Yep, yeah, there's the error. So it's the custom node thing. Apparently. Well, that sucks. All right, we'll take the custom node off. And the other node didn't need this one, so we'll just take that off. Maybe that is what changed since the last time I've used them. And the old ones won't error, because if you make a custom node style and you have old nodes, they don't get updated to the new style. Only the newly placed ones do. So yeah, I bet that's what it is. Because look what this doesn't have. It doesn't have the custom style. And that one works. Okie dokie. That's what it is then. Oh, yeah, what? Go. Shut down. Alright. We removed the custom style. It should work again. I'm gonna have to be very careful about that. But nodes are built different badly. Yeah. Maybe there's a way if I detect this array param, then maybe I can like force it to be the old kind of node, at least for now, until we can figure out what's wrong with it. That could be a way to mitigate the problems with it. But that explains why shit's been breaking all of a sudden when we try to use these nodes again. I wonder if that's why they were duplicated too. Yeah, look. They're not duplicated anymore. Well, one's a branch and one's not, but there were 4 of them before. Yeah, there were 4 of these. There were duplicates of these 2. There were 4 in the list, which I thought was strange, but it must have been because of the weird node thing. Okay, alright, well, that's fine. We don't... Well, I'm going to put the, I'm gonna put the old branch specifier on, the old one, so that we know which one is the branch and which one is not. We don't need it right now, so I'm not gonna bother recompiling in a moment, but we do need to replace this with this. So that's interesting. Custom node styles do not like array param. And let me write that down too. Custom node styles do not like meta array param and might not like where's the other one? This file. And it might not like this one. Might not like this one and array. Yeah, array param, I spelled that right. And might not like that. So let's try and see if we can make a fallback when those meta tags are present. How about that? That's a good note. I think we'll do that. And I'm gonna save that before it like ever crashes and we lose our notes. Okay, stream notes. That makes sense. Okay. All right, we learned something today. Never use custom node styles. I'm not gonna bother recompiling it because we know just don't use that one. The name will get updated the next time I compile. And okay, so we have the right one and we have no more errors. Okay, so we learned something about all that. Okay, finally we can see if this is functionally equivalent to what we had before. Oop. Yep. And here we are. Okay, it looks like it. Boink. Yeah, there we go. You may have to pass through the meta tags. Could be the pins in the custom node have a different name? I don't know. Maybe? I didn't have to do that with any other ones, but I don't know. Unreal's weird. I feel like we have a problem here of visibility, and I think I know what it is. 5. Okay, he dies in 5. So here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh wait, 1, 2, only 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I think the explosions are layered on top of the sprites. That is definitely the case, but look, there's so many explosions that it hides the sprites, and you're not getting a good view of them until they're already falling down, and by then they're kind of like halfway through their life cycle. Huh. Well, that, I mean, it's an easy fix, but I don't know if they should be below or above the explosions. Part of me feels like they should be below the explosion, but that's in the case where there's only one explosion, not like like 8 of them or whatever. Should be sprite layer system. Yeah, here it is. Okay, so the destroyed items, enemy destruction. Yeah, it's below the explosion. So let's see what it looks like on top of it. Big fan of your project. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm a big fan of my project too. Okay, those definitely looked more visible. Yeah, because they're in front. The question is the explosion more important than the parts that fall out? I don't know. I mean, theoretically, in a real way, the explosion would come from the inside, so you would see the parts would be blocking the image of the explosion. I don't feel like the image of the explosion is really diminished all that much from that. But I don't know. Well, I think they definitely look a bit better that way. The sprites being from Power Battles is such a cool aspect too. Thank you, I appreciate that. You know, I'm actually surprised that so many people even know what Power Battles is. I get a lot of comments like that. They're like, wow, it's really cool that you're using Power Battle style. And I'm just thinking, I'm like, it's such an old, obscure game. It's like, is it really that infamous? To just Mega Man fans in general, even like since it's so old? And like locked to arcade? I expected most people to just kind of assume it was Mega Man 7 style. I mean, like what kind of is, right? It's just like an enhanced version of Mega Man 7 style. Which is fine. I don't mind that people call it Mega Man 7 style, but people are rightfully and deliberately pointing out that there are a lot of Power Fighters aspects to it, which is good. I just didn't expect that people would pick up on that as much as they have. I guess for right now, I'm digging the sprites coming from. Whoa! What are we? What is going on? What happened? I saw a pop-up window for a split second. And then everything got like 3 frames per second. What? I don't know what that was, but okay. Maybe a graphics driver stopped for a moment. I don't know what the hell that was. I think it's just that you attract a very geeky public fan base, you know? That's true, fair. So we're all big nerds of the Mega Man franchise, even the obscure ones. Fair enough. I'll take that. I'll take that. I think that is very true. And that definitely would explain it. Yeah, I like that. That looks good. Okay, so the reason we made that change now that it works, I'll be honest, I'm not sure if I can finish this all tonight on stream. But the idea is that we made a copy of the sprites. Oh, hold on, my details pane's all messed up now. You can't see it, but I like it when the compile results are on the bottom here. There. Well, that's the base one. Here, let me pull up the other characters. And that one's all messed up too now. Hold on. I want details on the left and this one on the bottom. There we go. So it makes a copy of this list because it pulls one out of the list and removes it from the list at random. pulls a random one out and removes it. That's what this is doing. We generate a random index. Yeah, and then we get out we get whatever's at that index, send it off to the newly created object to assume that image, and then remove it. And then so one by one, it'll pick off. It'll be like, oh, we're gonna do that one, and then we do that one, and then we do this one, and then we do this one, and then we do this one, and finally we do this one, and boop, and you see it goes through the whole list and pulls them out. Of course I have to undo that after all that. There were 6, right? Yeah. But the reason we want to do that is because we want to pick a random image and say, okay, we need a fast object that goes high, and a slow object that goes low, but to the right. And then a fast object that goes to the right, and then a slow object that goes to the left, or one that doesn't go very far at all. Maybe it stays like in the middle. When I kind of make like profiles of different stuff, so it's not super random. Maybe that'll give it a more spread image of like what's going around. So if the part changes, right, the image changes, but the parameters are narrowed to different types. So there will always be, say these 4 different types, or maybe 5. We'll say a fast one that goes high, a slow one that goes low, one that sticks kind of in the middle but doesn't go too far to the left or right, stuff like that. And then have those sort of like defined parameters. Then you'll always get one that moves that way, but the image that's attached to it will be different every time it shows up. And that should give it a more even spread of what, how do I put it? It would be a more even spread of when they explode, you'll always have at least one going to the right or the left or whatever, you know what I mean? Let's see. I'm making a fan game also. I'm using Marvel vs. Capcom's Mega Man sprite. That's ambitious. I wish you luck with that. It's a very strange title to pick from, but yeah. The sprites are gorgeous in Marvel vs. Capcom, but the detail was insane. To have to draw everything else to match like that, man, you got your work cut out for you, and I respect that. That's tough to keep up with that kind of size of sprites. It's over here. So we put the randomness in the images instead of necessarily the trajectory, but we haven't changed the trajectory to not just be random yet. So I don't think I have enough time in a half hour to do that change. But it was at least good to get this part of it done, and it does work. Again, it is a little less efficient than just, scrolling through that one list. But if we want to prioritize the consistency of where the particles go and their speeds over the, we don't really care about the randomness so much of the imagery, then this is the way to go. Pick a random image, set it to a specific, so the first one spawned is always going to be a specific looking trajectory, and so on and so forth. Now you could even make it a global thing. So say you have 8 different trajectory types, but you consistently want them to show up in a pattern, the same pattern every time. You just want them to show up one after another. So every time the first one shows up, the second one's always going to be the same type of trajectory. And then third's always going to be the same and same and same. But say you only have 3 particles, then you'll only get patterns 1, 2, and 3. you'll never get patterns 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Except you hold the spot and say the last one that was generated will hold that spot. And then the next time something blows up, it'll start at 4, 5, 6. Then 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, and it'll scroll through, it'll cycle through the list. I think that would work. I think that's probably what I'll end up doing. So yeah, and then we don't have to do anything else here. All the work will be inside the base. So I don't know, can you make a static variable in Blueprints or no? So that it's shared between all instances of the blueprint. I mean, I could just make a global variable if I really want to, but it seems kind of weird to bother doing that if you could just make a static class variable. I mean, you could do it in C++ for sure, but I feel like it's kind of overkill to do that in here. So I don't know. Blueprint read only, exposes spawn private. Okay. Category? Oh no, that's just a organizational thing. Replication. I think these are for internet, like multiplayer stuff. Config variable. Transient. Save. Advanced display? Depreciated. I'm guessing not. Let me Google it quick. Blueprint static variable class variable. I'm assuming it's C++ only. Static variables and blueprints. That's exactly what we're asking. Post number 2. To my knowledge, you cannot create static class variables. It would be nice to have this feature, though honestly it hasn't been needed so far. Well, I need it. Don't tell me it's not needed. I need it. Okay. I'm just gonna have to make a shared integer then. So shared integer is a data asset with an integer inside of it. It is something that I made. It's not something that Unreal has by default. So let's go, what, enemies? Enemy base? Where's the destructible? Enemy destruction parts here. So miscellaneous data asset. Shared integer. SVI, shared value integer? I don't know. Whatever, it's fine. And we'll say enemy destruction part trajectory? Trajectory? How do I spell that? Trajectory? Whatever it is, I spelled it wrong. Last index. Sure. It's a big name, but it is what it is. So, yeah, then it's fine when it can just be 0. It doesn't need to be anything. It just needs to be stored. It can start at 0. It doesn't matter. And so what we're going to do then is every time we call this, it should be incremented. So when set sprite is called, yeah, this actually will probably have to do something now, which means all the derivative objects are going to have to call back to it, and I don't know if they are. Get out of here. Yeah, set sprite does not call its base. Call parent? Thank you. That would be great. Oh, yeah, here's another thing. Like I said, you should split it off like this if you're gonna do that. There. And then we need to do that for the other ones too. No, go over there. Oh, yeah, see, now I hate when this happens. Sometimes if you dock a blueprint, it'll take away the maximize and the minimize. But if you take one of these away and make it its own window, it gets them back. So, you don't have to close the whole thing and recreate it. You just pull one out and then reassemble it. What made you choose the Unity engine to create 2D pixel art? No, this is Unreal. This is Unreal Engine. Yeah, I'm using two monitors. You can't see the other one, but I don't like having this like blocking the view, so I just put it on the other monitor. This is Unreal Engine, not Unity. I dumped Unity because Unity went and did that awful betray everybody who's ever used Unity in the last like 15 years. And then now they can never be trusted again. So we don't use Unity anymore. And basically from that point, I had two choices. Set sprite. I had two choices. Do we go to Godot or do we go to Unreal Engine? And I chose Godot mainly because it's a bit underbaked, essentially. The support is a little shaky. The community is not very big. It's free and open source, which is nice, but it also makes things a little unfocused at times. So essentially, the only step up from Unity would be Unreal Engine. I don't want to take a step down. I want to take a step up, or at least a lateral. But there wasn't anything that was quite as good as Unity out there. All the other ones were a step down, except for Unreal Engine. And Unreal Engine's got its own quirks and weird things to it, but that's kind of what it boiled down to. I would have to take a step down to use Godot, and absolutely a huge step down to use GameMaker. So those were just not options to me. And at that point, Unreal was the only choice. And it is definitely a step up, both in the things you can do, but also the complexity and the headaches that come with it, for sure. I'll be perfectly honest, if Unity never did their thing, I think I still like Unity's engine better. Just on the way that it's structured. I think it's a bit more clean, and it's actually a bit more flexible in some of the areas that I care about. Not so much in other areas. But in a whole, I do like Unity's layout a bit better. And not just the layout, but I mean like the way that the engine actually works on the inside. As much as you can learn of it, because it's closed source, which is really annoying too. And that's one of the huge things. Unreal has it. It's not open source as in like free open source. You still have to sign a license to use it, but you get to see the source code and you can look at everything that they do and completely understand what's going on in the engine. And if you really want to, you can download the source and compile it yourself, which means you can remove something if you don't like it, or you can add something if you really think it needs it. And that's very powerful. Those are things that Unity don't let you do, neither of those. And it was a huge, huge, huge problem. That was the biggest issue, I think, with the engine. Unity, other than the whole betray everybody and destroy your trust forever. I mean, that's obviously the biggest option or biggest drawback right now for Unity, in which case I would say no one should be using it forever until the end of time. Just let it die off and hopefully somebody will take its place eventually. I mean, Godot will eventually evolve into that. It's very Unity-like. That would be my expectation, but you probably won't see that happen for another 8 years or so. And in the meantime, I'm not waiting around. So, yeah, that's essentially how I feel about that. I think the other big thing that Unreal has that's really good is the blueprint system is really, really, really nice. Unity tried to make like its own thing of it, but it's definitely not blueprints. It's the blueprints in Unreal is pretty much unrivaled. It's a very nice thing. Now, obviously, I do C++ code. I like C++ code, but I don't want to be writing C++ code to like program an enemy. Like it just the gameplay stuff I do with blueprints. The supporting systems, the code that really needs to be highly optimized, and code that needs to be behind the scenes that you don't have to deal with, that stuff gets locked in C++. You know, things that get put into plugins and other things that can be reused. But then the game itself, the gameplay, how Mega Man jumps, how does his jump arc work, or what's his walk speed? Are we moving? You know, we handle those details, gameplay details in blueprints. And then I have a platforming movement thing built in C++, and it's like, okay, Mega Man jumped this high and he moved this far, and then it goes behind the scenes and does all that. But I don't have to worry about that in blueprints. So it's kind of spreading out the duties here. I think that's a pretty good way to handle building things in Unreal. And I think that aspect works better than Unity's offerings, you know, in terms of like connecting things together. There's a couple things that Unity does that are a bit easier to use. Like all the objects are already loaded in the editor, and you can communicate with different parts of objects as if it was runtime, even though it's not runtime, but Unreal doesn't let you do that. It's a bit convoluted with how that works. So I do miss that part about Unreal, or Unity. But I do love blueprints, the way that blueprints and C++ work together and are divided into their kind of own little realms. I do like that. I like how that all works. And Unity doesn't have anything even close to something that good. If they could just take the blueprints and put it into Unity and then go back in time and have Unity not do the thing, that would be my I guess my ultimate timeline. So you know what, if Unity created, if they made everything open source like Unreal does, and I don't know, turn into like a worker co-op, then maybe I'll go back to Unity. It's never gonna happen, but I guess those are my terms. If they're not gonna meet that, then there's like no way I can trust them again. It's just not gonna happen. Anyway, I think I'm going about this the wrong way here. Excuse me. I don't think that these destruction parts should be calling the parent thing, because this should not be part of set sprite. It doesn't make sense to lump those two together. I think what should happen, not that one, this one? There we go. I think what should happen, we just make a separate function for the trajectory. So set the sprite and set trajectory. Simple enough. So let's go to the actual base component of the destruction part. That's this one. And so we want to Trajectory. Did we find out how to spell this yet? How do we spell trajectory? Define trajectory. Oh, I did it! I did it! I did it right the first time! Incredible. I can't spell anything. So this is great. Okay, compile, whatever. Okay, so we're just gonna do set trajectory, and then this is gonna do all the goofy stuff. Right now, I think all of that is being handled on spawn. Flicker timer, invisibility, here. This stuff, this needs to get put into set trajectory. Great. I think this is actually because of the new node style. Because see, here's another get random float in range. I think is that you can't copy something from an old style to the new style. So then this one also, no, that one works. I guess I haven't converted that one over yet. With this one, so random float in range. Min max here. Okay, we'll have to replace these first. Oh, that's a pain. Okay, you didn't understand what happened with Unity? Okay, let me tell you, let me give you a little quick history. Unity said, hey, everybody that's used Unity for the last like 15 years, we have decided, without asking you, without getting your permission, that we're going to attempt to essentially tax you retroactively for every game that's ever made in Unity since the dawn of time. And we're going to count that against you monetarily into this new install fee. So you're going to get retroactively screwed on every game that you've ever made in Unity. That's first, number one. That's what they tried. And then obviously people were very mad about that. And so they waffled on some of the details and this and that, but they kept the install fee. Until a year later, then they finally took it out. They kept the install fee, but they also got rid of their mid-tier, their mid-support tier. And now you have to buy the super expensive Unity Pro, which was like $1 bazillion that indies don't have. And if you didn't have that, you know, you were limited, like, because you had benefits, you know, from getting like discounts in the asset store and getting support from Unity and getting a license to distribute your game and all that stuff. All that became considerably more expensive. That they did not fix, as far as I'm aware. But here's the thing, they knew that this was a shitty dirtbag move, and they knew that people were going to be mad about it. And they basically were saying in their meetings, they're like, yeah, they're going to be mad, but we don't give a shit. We want the money, and they'll get over it. They'll learn to live with it. Fuck them. And that is awful, to use a very tame word. That's awful. I mean, you can't trust them ever again, that they're not just going to come around and be like, oh yeah, sorry for 0 days notice, but we decided to change all the rules again, and to go back and to, I did not call Siri, fuck you, get out of here. Are you listening? Are they spying on me? The Siri thing came up, I didn't touch it. I didn't say Siri. Hey Siri, fuck off. Yeah, fuck you. Get out of here, you son of a bitch. They're listening. They don't like what I'm having to say. Yeah, Jeff Bezos must be getting some stock in Unity, son. I don't know. Or Tim Cook. It was Tim Cook. That's it. That's the Apple guy. Rat bastards, all of them. But here's the thing. They decided that they knew everybody was going to hate it, and they were going to do it anyway, and they were going to retroactively change the rules. So it wasn't new games going forward. It was every game. All the way back to the dawn of time. How can you ever trust that they're not just going to change the rules again? They've already shown a willingness to do it once. And let me tell you, executive boards and CEOs pretty much all have the same brain. Just because Tom Ravioli flew off on his golden parachute and said, sayonara, I'm going to a different company to ruin. And then they change him with someone else. That doesn't mean that the next guy's not going to just do the same damn thing. They merged with a spyware company before they did this because they needed to pack the engine full of spyware to track all the installs. And guess what? Unity is closed source. Did they take the spyware out? I don't know. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. And guess what? You can't check. You can't look at the source to find out. So what are you supposed to do? How can you trust that? You don't know if the spyware is still there. You don't know if they're still planning on maybe bringing it back at some point or changing all the rules again completely retroactively and hiding the license. They had a sort of like GitHub for the license so you could see what changes as the license get updated. They discontinued it and hid it before they did this because they knew people were going to be pissed off about it. So they tried to hide it and then tried to just turn the corner and be like, yeah, by the way, you have to give us all this fucking money out of nowhere. And we're going to change all the rules. Pray we don't change them further. So I don't know. I'm certainly not going to stick around to find out what next bonehead move's coming around the corner. You ain't going to catch me doing that. So, yeah. Use it at your own risk, but I'm not going to recommend it. Not at all. Okay, that one works. Good luck. Get seconds. Yeah. There we go. Oh yeah, it was a dick move. And again, they changed some of the details over time here and there, but they've already proved that they don't give a shit. That they will do it if they will do it at the drop of a hat. And when's the next one? I'm not going to sit there living in fear that my entire career is just going to get destroyed overnight again. I mean, that's exactly what happened. All the clients that I had in Unity disappeared literally overnight. All the work that I was doing for people, commission work, completely destroyed overnight. They all left. They are all like, well, we can't stick with Unity. And, well, you're the Unity guy, so... sorry! We're just gonna have to part ways. No more money for you. Is this a styled node too? It is. Okay, I'll have to... maybe? Can I copy that one? Okay, that one's already good. So yeah, I'm not sticking around for that to happen every year, 6 months, or every week. Who knows? Who knows when it's gonna happen next? Not me, and I'm certainly not gonna find out. They'll let the other suckers do it. If they want to find out, that's their business. But I'm going to tell everybody that I meet, don't fuck with Unity because you're just gonna get fucked. It may not happen this week or this year, but that shit's coming one way or another. And you can't convince me to do it. You can't convince me to... Hold on. I'm juggling two thoughts at the same time. I'm programming on one side of my brain, and I'm talking Unity on the other side of my brain. Okay, Unity first. You won't get me sitting here waiting for the next gun to go off. I'm not going to be sitting here, you know, worrying about my career and the future of all of my games that I'm making in Unity, and waiting for the next knife in the back. It's not going to happen. I will not live under that kind of threat. So, yeah, screw that. And the other thing I was thinking is, I didn't need to move any of that code. I got kind of tunnel vision on the whole idea that when we set a sprite, that we want to set a trajectory too. But there's no reason to have to manually call the trajectory change. It can stay in there. It can stay inside of... Yeah, where the hell did I put it now? Recent blueprints. Here. I mean, it can stay in its own function. That's fine, too. I don't mind it being its own function, but... There's no reason to not just call it here. So when it spawns, you'll just get a new trajectory. Whether you change the sprite or not, why should you have to manually do that? I mean, you don't have to manually set the timer and set the sprite visibility. Just set the trajectory here and let it do its thing. So what we need to do here is sort of like break these down. Again, I don't have time to do it all here. But you want to break these down into sort of like profiles, and I might make like a struct and then make an array of structs of that struct and then type in the values that I want, which will then just be run through this code again. But anyway, the thing I was trying to get at here is that the Globo trajectory index. So shared value integer. It's not here. Oh, it just means to be a shared integer, right? Oh, shred. Shared. The shred integer. Yeah, let's shred the integer. That sounds like a good thing to do here. Okay, so we'll compile it. You can't see it because it's on the other thing. But I'm just going to that SVI enemy destruction part trajectory last index. Big long words, but that was just the shared value we made. And basically what we can do now because of that is get value we can get the shared value if it's valid. Wait, why is that? That shouldn't be a target. Hold on. I know why that's happening, I think. Is this part of... Yeah, that's why it's part... I'll change that later. If you make a static function inside the U object definition, for whatever reason, it makes this target here, even though it's not used. And you don't have to use it. You should just use this. So it's a static function because what it's doing is going to check to see if this is okay, and then try to get the value, and then say whether it got the value or the shared one, and sorry, whether they got the shared value or the default if this was invalid. But this target actually doesn't exist in here. Let's see if I can find which one it was. Get value or default. See, here's the shared integer. There's no target parameter here. There's no target in the metadata, nothing. This simply existing as a static function inside this class, because it's inside the asset class, every time it just automatically shows this target thing. So I've been slowly moving these out into their own like little like blueprint function library so that it doesn't get this. But I built these off of I built a template and then built these headers off of the template. So I'd have to go back and edit the template and then migrate everything over. And it's a real hassle, so I've just kind of left these ones as is. But you definitely want to heed my warning. Don't put the static functions in the UObject class, because you will get this wacky target that does nothing. So anyway, if we get a default value, then we want to throw an error. So log text, it can be a quickie, it's fine. Do a quick one. Shared integer used for trajectory index was invalid. An error. And yeah, print the log in there. But if it was good, then we'll go ahead and continue on doing the thing. So this is the last value that was used, which means we need to increment. Increment and wrap. And that is something that I made. So the wrap range, that will be the array size that's in here. But we don't have that yet, so I'm just gonna say 8 for now and make a note that the 8 size was put in temporary. Oh yeah, and should be sourced from an array length. So I'll remember to change that later. So then this is our new value. Let's make this a local variable. Let's call it trajectory index to use. And we need to save that back into the shared value. So set shared value. Set value. Shared hertz time. Set value shared. I'm gonna do it from here. Set value? There it is. Shared integer. I don't know why it wasn't coming up before. Well, we know it exists at this point, so we don't have to worry about it not existing, because we already checked if it existed over here. So we're gonna set this value, because we incremented it and wrapped it around 8. So if it was 7 and we plus 1 to 8, it gets wrapped around to 0. We can't reach 8. We can go 0 to 7, and then if you add 1 there, then it goes back to 0, and so on. So that's what this is about here. And we'll make this a little nicer. Yeah. So then we just set this, because the next time that the trajectory has to get set, it has to read the value, increment it, and then set it back here. So every time it happens, this one global variable gets updated. That's the whole idea of this. And from there, we can then go on and do our thing. So let's comment this to be get that global trajectory value incremented. And we'll make it, I don't know, cyan? Cyan's a good color. Yeah. And then we'll add that into the comment here. This is kind of all the same thing. So there, this is our first part. You can treat these comments like a function almost. That's why I put these nodes here, so that if it gets disconnected, it's got an in and an out point, so you can move it around and then reconnect it where you want. I kind of treat these functions, or these comment blocks, as kind of functions in that way. And then so you should, and then this case, do this and connect these like that. And then this, I'm not going to keep it in a comment block right now because I'm going to expand on it before I do anything. But then this is, you know, do the calculations, whatever. And then it's almost acts like two functions: set trajectory value, do the calculations. But I'm just going to get rid of the comment block for now. That's kind of how I organize my blueprint stuff. I think it's a good way to do it. You may agree, you may not. But I like it, and I'm going to do it. Okay, so that's good. And that's kind of all the time we have for today. So again, really what the goal here now is to say, okay, for this trajectory profile, we're going to make a trajectory profile, and it's going to have its own horizontal speed range. That's going to get thrown through this formula. It's going to have its own jump low and high times. It's going to have its own jump height, low and high time, or low and high distances. And they're going to get fed in, and they're going to have the goal of being, it always moves to the left, and it always goes fast and goes high. And then the next one always goes to the right, but always goes not as far, and it goes only a little bit up. And then make those bunch of profiles and make all the ones we want, and then it'll cycle through. Every time it has to generate one of these, this keeps it on track, this global variable. It'll just cycle through the array and pick the next one, and it'll loop through the array over and over and over. Every time that you do one, it's going to pick the next profile over and over and over. If you get 8, you got 16, 32, whatever, it doesn't matter. It'll just keep looping them. And you'll have this sort of consistent spread. You want to artistically, so to speak, order the values and the profiles in a way that make a nice spread. It's like boom, 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 and it goes in the kind of sequence that you want that looks good. And then you have that consistency, and then it just plays through all of those sequences over and over and over and over. And that way you can get a nice kind of even spread that way. But that part, the creating the profiles and plugging them, having the profile get plugged into these parts, to get that I'll have to do, on my own time off stream, because we're pretty much out of time. It's been almost 3 hours and it's late, and I shouldn't overextend myself because I'm still healing from the whole spine thing and feeling I'm still kind of in that transition phase with the diet. It's kind of leveling out now, but it's definitely affecting my sleep. Oh, the medications too are screwing my sleep up bad, so I have to be a little more diligent with trying to keep my health on track. So for that reason, we're not going to do a 12-hour stream. We're doing only 3. And I think we did 3. Oh no, what happened here? Must have a Really? Wait, and this one disappeared even. I don't even know. Really? What about this one? The target disappeared. I don't know. Stupid No, that was it. It was just this one was complaining. Wait, hold on. What if I refresh now? Why does it not give me the option to do those? I don't know. I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out later. I don't know. These friggin' things. Maybe I really do have to just move these out into their own thing. Anyway, I have a Patreon. Yesterday was my birthday. Happy birthday to me. If you want to get me a birthday present, you can look at the Patreon and join up. And that basically supports the live stream. Doing this stuff's not free. I do have to pay a service to multi-stream, and it would put the funds towards things like getting resources for, like paying the subscription for Ryder. This isn't free, unfortunately. It's free for non-commercial dev, but I do some commercial stuff, or well, you did before the neck thing. But assuming that that's going to resume, potentially even soon, I have to continue paying for Ryder. I can buy plugins for Unreal with it to help development. It helps pay for the streaming costs. We get the Discord Nitro to boost the Discord server, which link should be down below. Come to the Discord server, hang out. So it helps a lot. It helps a lot. And it also, maybe most importantly, helps me prioritize time spent on the fun projects that we do on stream here and not have to do other things to generate money. So that would be great to kind of make things go a little faster and all that. So if any of that sounds good, take a look at the Patreon. If you see something you like there, then go ahead and subscribe Rooney and hit like and all the other stuff. The general stuff. You all know it. You all know it. I don't have to tell you. And that's pretty much it. So we'll be back next Wednesday. Well, across the border, 12/10. It's Thursday now. The 19th. Yeah, the 19th. We'll be back on the 19th. Hopefully on time, if we don't have a equipment meltdown like last time. And I will try my best to do a little test stream to figure out why the hell Twitch is not working right now. And maybe we can get that back. But yeah, then we'll be back on the 19th, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I can show you what I ended up doing here if I end up actually finishing it and not getting sidetracked on something else. But yeah, so that's it. I'll see you guys later. Have a good one. And